Today we have the contributing writer for the New York Times opinion section and the host of two podcasts, Sway and Pivot, Kara Swisher. Thanks for coming back on.
Thanks very much.
We just heard from Elon Musk that his Twitter purchase is on hold. Obviously, the stock price for Tesla is in a bit of a free fall, and his capital to buy Twitter is against his Tesla shares. Do you think that this thing ultimately goes through? Like, do you believe that Elon owns Twitter at the end of this?
I think he's trying to get a lower price, and we'll see. We'll see. There are a couple of elements. The government might intervene because he might think he's playing games here. He may pay the breakup fee, walk away, and then come back when the price is lower. Every other tech stock is off. Twitter should be in the doldrums, just like everybody else, but it hasn't been because of this 54.20 price, although it's been trading $10 below that. And so he wants a lower price. That's really, I don't care what he says about anything else, about bots and spam, whatever. It's about the price.
Do you think that the government has any enforcement mechanism, any teeth to actually, I mean, we've seen like a few instances of this market manipulation, if you can call it that, you know?
I don't know what it is right now. I just wish the government would, the disclosure thing they're looking into, allegedly, that's what the reports are, or the reports are that I assume they're correct, that the government is looking into the early disclosure thing, that he didn't disclose he was buying up Twitter. That's a problem. He's obviously had many problems with the SEC before. I don't know what's happening here. Is he talking about bots, but he really is talking about price? I don't know. That's what government regulators and investigators are supposed to look into, and that's not my job. So
now, Elon came out on Twitter and confirmed reporting that he would let Donald Trump back onto the platform. Do you agree with that decision?
I said he'd do it a month ago when he started it. So I don't just agree or disagree. I mean, no, I don't think he should if I owned it, but they permanently banned him at the rules of the time. He could change the rules if he owns the company. He doesn't own the company, but if he did, he can certainly do whatever he wants. I don't think it's a good idea.
Where do you stand on this issue of like whether a person should be banned for spreading disinformation that could be as dangerous as rhetoric that led to January 6th or a million people dying of COVID?
Where do I stand on the guy that comes into a restaurant and poops on the floor? I don't think he should go to the restaurant again. I don't know what to say. Everyone tries to drag it into free speech. It's not free speech. He broke the rules of the platform about inciting violence. That's usually a permanent ban under old Twitter rules. It could be changed under new Twitter rules. And everyone tries to make it about free speech and this and that. That's their rules. Them's the rules. And if you want to make rules that you can poop in a restaurant, you should do that in your restaurant. I don't think a lot of people would eat there. Or maybe the government might have some problems with the cleanliness issues, but whatever.
Yeah, I guess it changes things if there's really only a couple of restaurants in town and the other restaurant's owned by Mark Zuckerberg. And so
yeah, whatever. I don't know. I just whatever he wants to do, he should do. But the fact of the matter is, Twitter was well within its rights to do what it did. And of course, the right, because they virtue signal almost all the time, has to make it about free speech. It's not about free speech. It's their rules. They decided this guy was inciting violence on a very violent day, and decided to put a stop to it. So, okay, they didn't want to be handmade into sedition, and a business can decide not to do that because they have free speech. Also, by the way, under Citizens United, companies have free speech. And so they decided their free speech said, we don't want this guy on our platform. They can bring him back if they want. They can change the rules. And if Elon owns it, he certainly can do it. Now, the issue is Trump is not coming back because he's got all kinds of, legal and other complications due to Truth Social, which is a big bomb, essentially. But he's got to stay there for money and contractual and probably legal reasons would be my guess.
And do you think Donald Trump can actually manage to suppress his insatiable appetite for affection? Like if he's able to get back onto the platform, if he has,
there might not be a platform to get on by the time he gets back. By the way, this is really devastating to Twitter, and they just fired a couple executives who I think are pretty good, but I don't know internally. But they've got enough problems as it was before all this mess, and now Elon has thrown a chaos bomb into the middle of it. So maybe that's what he wants to happen. Maybe he wants it to be chaos, and then he'll clean it up and look like a hero. I don't know. But it's got enough problems that it may not be the great platform that Donald Trump used it for to launch his political career.
To that point, like he'd mentioned, Elon had mentioned timeouts for tweets that violate terms of service, but
that makes sense.
That's not really a deterrent if you're Trump and your only goal is to sow disinformation.
If you have enough time, there might be like 3 timeouts and then you're off completely, 3 strikes. I don't know what his rules are. I suppose if he did it 3 times, yes, or 2 times, or maybe already they may bring him back on with some behavior. If you do it again, you're off permanently. They can make rules for anybody. Like, who cares? Like, they can do whatever they want, but they may have that. I don't know. There's no specifics. So I don't know. I would probably, my issue with the ban was that it was made by two people, Mark Zuckerberg and Jack Dorsey. And probably, and these were important communications platforms, probably the concentration of power is the problem, not so much the platforms who can make any rules they want. It's that there's no competitors to Facebook, particularly. There hasn't been. There will be, but there hasn't been. And so the more places people can speak, the better. That's how you really protect free speech, is you don't let power concentrate into the hands of a small group of people.
I'm curious about this, and I haven't really like weighed in on or really cared about Elon's politics, because I honestly thought that what he has done with Tesla and making EVs mainstream, I mean, for somebody that cares about climate, that's he's one of the most important people. And then I'd see these tweets that were just fucking annoying, but it's like not worth weighing in on. What do you think his politics are? Because he positions himself as this disaffected liberal, but like all of his interactions are with Mike Cernovich and Tim Pool and
that's recent.
Pizzagate
That's
guy.
recent. That's recent. If you notice, he's speaking about virtue signaling. That's what he's doing to the right. And by the way, they're so insecure and pathetic that any kind of hug from cool guy Elon, they're like, he's the best. They suddenly become discerning about people. Give me a break. He's for climate change. Who knows what he's for? I think he's one of these people who I don't think he was a liberal. I think he was a kind of a libertarian, and he's disaffected for sure. He loved Obama, big donor to the ACLU, doesn't like Biden, obviously, but Biden's not been the nicest to him either. So why should he? Didn't like Trump, but sort of like some Trump policies. Needs to do business with government, so he'll be nice to whatever government's in place. I think it's all over the map with him, and it bothers people. That bothers people, and I think the stuff he's doing lately is just he's petting them. He needs their help, and he pets them, and it works. He's putting on his celebrity chomper smile to everybody, and in the hopes that they'll they slavishly follow anybody. So that's what he's doing. He's playing into their weird insecurities.
His tweets do have like a Trumpian feel to them, not in their danger, but like in these like these decrees on all things, and they're not
likes chocolate milk
thought through. Yeah, like cocaine is going to put cocaine back into Coca-Cola, and just like these thoughts on everything, these like grand proclamations.
He's trolling you. Just everything's a joke. Like, keep that in mind when you're thinking about Elon Musk. Many things are a joke to him, and he's a brilliant man who has created amazing companies. Let's just underscore that. Everyone else is working on such dumb stuff in Silicon Valley, and this guy's working on big ideas, rockets and climate change and boring holes and solar. These are big ideas, important ideas. And he also needs to blow the steam off, I guess, when you're that brilliant and that, you can feel it coming off of him. Like there's a lot of pressure in his life. And so this is how he, look, I watch ASMR sand cutting videos to calm myself down. He tweets, and that you don't have to like it, but that's the way he is.
Does Truth Social work if there aren't liberals there for the fight of what Twitter is? Like it isn't exactly the fact that everyone's on Twitter what's made it a compelling platform.
I just badly done. Just like I could say about any other badly made and badly created piece of tech, it's badly done, badly created, and all part of a financial scheme. It looks like that's what it looks like to make Donald Trump some money. But too bad the SPAC markets died. So sorry, too late, Donald. That kind of, unless they paid him somehow, I don't know.
So I want to switch over to like the recent Roe decisions. We have a Republican Party that's gone all in on overturning Roe, which is an issue that 28% of Americans actually support the overturning of Roe. And yet they're not only a viable party, they're the favorites heading into midterms. What's your takeaway from that?
Well, we've got a pandemic, we've got inflation, we've got these are all the repercussions of the pandemic and the stimulus and the supply chain all at once. You've got a war in Ukraine. There's a lot going on, and so Biden's got his hands full. I don't know if anybody could really play this hand very well. And the Republicans are appealing to the base, these base people that worry about the single trans athlete in their state that might take a medal away from their daughter, or they want Roe v. Wade. Now, what's interesting is most of the country does not want that. If you look at the full polling, it's pretty positive. It's pretty in favor of Roe versus Wade. But they don't care. They want to rule from a minority position. They realize they're moving into a minority position, and their options are to convince a wider demographic that they're great, which they're trying to do. That it's working among certain groups, or to solidify power through gerrymandering and minority rule, and that's what they're doing. So and to exercise, they're about power. Let's be clear, that's what they're about. And so that's what they're going to do. I don't, and this is something that appeals a lot to their base, this particular thing. And that's all they need to get to the primary. Now, the question is what happens when they get to the general election? Like, look at Pennsylvania. Looks like this one woman who is quite way off to the right might win over these two others that are battling it out, that are more in the center. And what's really depressing about that particular fight is neither of those men really believe the things they're saying about the election or whatever. That's what's sad. The woman seems to, but everybody feels they have to do that for fealty towards Trump. That'll eventually stop.
That is the question, isn't it? Because then we have someone like JD Vance, who is not the guy he purports to be, not the guy he's play acting at being.
Maybe he's become that guy. Maybe he's become that guy. Maybe he has. I've had relatives who had a transformation. I think it's genuine. I do. I don't know about him, but I know my relatives are genuine, and I don't speak to them anymore. So whatever, I've had relatives who've transformed like that. They live in a fearful, sad place where America is about, like, that crime is about to come down on their heads. And no matter what you tell them, I had one relative, they were like, they're coming to our town, BLM. I said, nobody wants to come to your shitty town. Like, they're staying in the nice places. Like, give me a break. The ability, it's interesting because Barack Obama sort of focused on hope. That was his thing. Fear works just as well. It's just sad and pathetic is what it is.
Do you worry that we just watched a coup attempt and not much happened, and so there's the possibility that Roe is going to be overturned and everything that comes with it in terms of the attacks on contraception and whatnot, and that Republicans will still eke out a win?
Well, they'll try. Let me just say, in history, if you look at history, it happens over and over again, this sort of slow move towards authoritarianism. That said, guess what? That felt like that. You're younger than I am. It felt like that during a lot of our previous eras, whether it was the Salem witch trials or McCarthyism, or the Civil War. By the way, someone was like, this is the worst time ever. I'm like, I'm going to go with the Civil War on that one, right? Where people were enslaved and there was a massive war. We have been through things like this, including the Civil War, and they have lost almost always in the end. These kind of retrograde forces, ultimately, which are always powerful, they're always there. If you think I'm going to give back my rights that I got as a gay person, you got another thing coming. There's equally amounts of committed people on the other side, and so there's an expression in Tony Kushner's Angels in America, the world keeps spinning forward. I really believe that it does. There's declines and retrograde, but always forward. And so they can try. Good luck. You think we don't have some moves ourselves? That's ridiculous. And so, yeah, this is what they've said. They've always said they're going to do this, and they're going to keep trying. And we'll see how long they can hold on to power with their tiny-minded, pathetic, sad, fearful politics. Good luck. In any case, we'll see if Elon owns Twitter. He'll own it for a lot less money if he owns it. I'll tell you that, which is a good thing for him.
As a member of the media, I mean, you write for the New York Times in their opinion section. Where do you think that that members of the media should stand in terms of a lot of the media is there to, I guess, just to be neutral and to report on what's happening and not imbue their own personal opinion on this stuff. But when the argument is between authoritarianism and not, and I mean the Fourth Estate's right to be there, I mean, existence is predicated on not having an authoritarian system. Do you think that at some point the transcription elements or the neutral elements of I
don't think the press is neutral. I never thought it was. Look, go back to our beginning of the country. Go watch that press. That press, so there was a Jefferson press, there was a Hamilton press, there was a Madison press, which was close to the Jefferson press. This has been, the idea of neutrality is a new, fresh one. There's always been sides, and there always will be sides. The New York Times is more a sort of center center, left, right. I don't know. Sometimes it changes time to time. You got the Washington Post. Where are they precisely? CNN, it's been clear. They've been a little at the night they're this way and today they're this way. So I think I think this argument is kind of pointless on some level because it's always been like this. And, but there are facts and that should, news is news. This happened in Ukraine. This happened here. And those should be factual. And everyone who, especially the people, the forces of retrograde, would like to twist facts, and that should stay neutral. Opinions on those facts and what you think we should do about them and the direction we should go. Everybody has a policy. I'm going to use the word policy versus opinion because my policy may be different from your policy, and then you hash it out in a democracy and get to a place where most people are happy. But I think the real problem is everybody thinks they're going to get exactly what they want in their lives, and they aren't. Nobody is. Let's finish off with this. What do you think is the Democrats' top message heading into midterms, from the economy to attacks on democracy to Roe and other women's reproductive health issues? What do you think is most resonant? Well, it's interesting. So you think about George Bush when he was in trouble, and I think he did that "I care" message. I care. Remember that one? And you don't remember that one. It was ridiculous. It was bad because he had talked about taxes and they had to walk it back. This is what they say. We know, we acknowledge the problems. We've been trying it this is what we've done. We have gotten us out of this pandemic. We are trying to get the supply chains going. We are for protecting a woman's reproductive rights. We are for this, say what you're for, say what you're going to do, say it forthrightly, right? And say, when we disagree. And by the way, Democrats, we disagree. Some of them over here want to do this. This is where I stand. And I think people respect that, and say attacking them doesn't really work. Those people like that stuff. You know what I mean? Calling them stupid. They may be stupid. I think a lot of them are stupid. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care. It's like they don't care. So just stop caring about them and start focusing on the things we're doing, the Democrats are doing to fix things and to make things better and paint a picture of hope, because it is just as powerful as fear. It is, and move in that direction and try to win elections, hand-to-hand combat in elections. And I don't mean real combat, but real electoral combat, where you really go out and listen to people and what they want. I think Katie Porter, the congresswoman from California, just had a really great speech about that. It's like, start to listen to people and what they want and stop talking, I guess, which I will stop talking now.
Perfect segue. We'll leave it there. Kara Swisher, thank you so much for taking the time.
All right. Thanks, Brian.